When you're a solopreneur, what unique challenges do you have to overcome? What do you wish that you'd known when you started out? And what do you want to share with others? Those are just some of the questions that I asked entrepreneur and videographer Tim Adams in today's Eternity Changer show. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Eternity Changer Show. Today, I'm really excited to be joined by Tim Adams. Now, Tim is a videographer, entrepreneur. He's someone that I met through the Church Tech group on Google+, and in some ways we're kindred spirits, perhaps because we're both video guys, perhaps because we're both video guys that do work in church and then do freelance work on the side as well. I don't know if there are other reasons, but anytime that we get together in a hangout like this one, it seems like we just play off each other really well. And so I thought he'd be a perfect person to talk to about our subject, which is chasing your dreams, going after the things that you feel like God has called you to, and getting past some of the obstacles. So let's first ask Tim to fill in any of the gaps that I've left out, and then we'll just dive in, shall we? So, Tim, what have I missed? Fill me in.
Well, first off, thanks, Paul, for having me on the show. And, we are kindred spirits, not only because we are video guys and video guys that help in church, but I think we have similar experiences and, similar life experience. And, that definitely is nice to meet somebody else that has had some similar experiences. As far as anything you've missed, I would say that I grew up in the Adventist Church. I'm still very much connected to the Adventist Church. I have moved on from attending an Adventist church. I attend a non-denominational Sabbath-keeping church. So in the same vein, and we're a mobile church, so we're in and out of the trailer every week. So set up at 2:45, program at 5, and we're rolling again at 7:30, all packed up. So that has its own challenges. My old Adventist church actually is about 1,100 members, and I was kind of the video director there for about 10 years, and that was a 4-camera, multi-camera live production system. So I've been around the world doing video for evangelistic and kind of religious and non-religious purposes, and I love what I do.
So tell me, Tim, as you were striking out on your own, I know that you're self-employed now, what were some of the challenges you had to overcome, some of the fears that you just had to kick in the teeth to just go for it, as opposed to saying, no, I'll do something safe? What was that like for you?
Well, I'll be honest, Paul. If there's a mistake to make when you're starting out, I made it. I am the non-typical example of not having a business plan, not having a marketing plan, doing absolutely no research as far as who my target market is and how to market to them, and demographic studies, all the stuff, venture capital. Didn't have it at all. And so I'm the poster child for what not to do. But be that as it may, I've had all the same challenges that most startups have and entrepreneurs have, and that is those things that I mentioned. How do you identify first who your target market is going to be? How do you choose to market to that market? And finally, how do you become a salesman of yourself? My personality type, I kind of like to fly under the radar, and I like people to just know that they need what I offer, and that makes closing the sale that much easier. Unfortunately, reality doesn't exactly match our desires, and so I've been in business since 2007 when I graduated college, and it has been a constant struggle to, pay the bills every month. And what's this budgeting thing everybody talks about, how you manage your money and where it all goes, and how do you plan for equipment upgrades, and how do you plan for car insurance? How are you going to pay for that? Are you going to pay month to month? Are you going to pay on a 3-month term, on a 6-month term, an annual term? Life insurance, my goodness. Well, I don't need that. I'm not married yet. So, common struggles, and probably some uncommon ones just because of the path that I chose to take. But I gotta be honest. God has definitely had His hand over my life, because I'm here 7 years later, still in business, and I have no idea how.
So along those lines, is there any advice that you wish that you'd known before you started, or something that if you could travel back in time, hop into the DeLorean and talk to younger Tim and say, okay, this is the one thing I need you to know. Just know this, and our life is going to go so much better. Is there anything like that?
Marketing, 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 marketing. Um, Especially the shift from traditional marketing to the online content marketing strategies, and how SEO is now playing a huge role in just about any marketing strategy. If you're not engaging in SEO, then you're doing something wrong.
What were some of the technical challenges that you've overcome along the way?
Well, obviously, when you're starting out doing video or photography, you have your equipment. That's a huge hurdle. And frankly, I was blessed by some family members that believed in the dream that I had in front of me, and they were able to provide that funding, shall we say, as soon as I got out of college. And so I hit the ground kind of running as far as equipment. I didn't have to figure that part out. Am I going to do this venture capital? Am I going to pass on the cost of renting equipment to my clients? So that was really nice, and I had a pretty nice equipment package. But as far as technical challenges, that was 2007 to 2010. That was right around the time of the upgrade to HD, or the transition to HD TV, and HD was really hitting its stride around that time. And so it wasn't too long that it became pretty apparent that HDV was on its way out, and I had invested, $6,000 or $3,000 in a HDV camera. Well, how do you address that? And I wish I could say that I saw the future coming and I knew I needed to upgrade, and so I was able to squirrel money away. Yeah, no. Now, I was of the mind that, well, I work in big chunks of money, and when I get a big chunk of money, I will buy new equipment. And that's what ended up happening. Unfortunately, my HDV camera was on the fritz, and I'd just gotten a huge 7 DVD instructional training series project, and it was the deposit on that that allowed me to upgrade to what I shoot on now, my Panasonic GH2. And so I tell you that once again, God's hand saving me from myself. But as far as other technical challenges, there's always the computer upgrades and software, and are you gonna hire an editor if you get too busy? Are you gonna hire another shooter? There's probably 200 things every day that a business owner needs to do, and I would say it's really important to have a team around you. If you're going to get going and you want aggressive growth and you expect that, even if you're just starting out and you don't expect that much, having a team around you, whether they're business partners or just friends and family, having people around you that you can trust, that can mentor you and really provide you honest feedback is invaluable.
So let's say that everything fires on all cylinders, and whatever you have in your mind as the way things should be, if it all works out, whatever that is, that happens. And in 5 years, 10 years, 20, whatever it takes, you find yourself living in the vision that you have right now that you haven't quite achieved. what will that look like?
Oh man, that's the question. Um, well, first, let me say this. I do have a business coach now, and we are backtracking and redoing all that business plan and marketing work that I should have done starting out. So we're kind of laying the foundation, as it were, to further build the company. But 5 years down the road, however long it takes, eventually it would be nice to have different departments. So Tomato Productions has three main categories of work and services that we offer. So we have business video, and then we have weddings, and we shoot photo and video, and we can provide both simultaneously for the same event, which is rather unique. And then we have AV consulting, and this is where you and I met on Google Plus in the church tech community. So essentially, churches that are looking to upgrade their audio-video systems, lighting, projection, that's included in there as well. I can come on site and do an evaluation of your current systems, find out exactly what it is that you want to do with your equipment now and in the future, and then I'll create a custom proposal in system design that would help you accommodate that. So each one of those categories would become a department, and I'd have a manager for each one, and each of the first two, so weddings and business video, would have its own group of editors and shooters, and then of course the AV consulting, I'd have probably 2 or 3 individuals that would assist me in traveling to churches and training their crews and doing the evaluations and system design. Ultimately, I would like that to be a cash cow, if you will, to help fund my true passion, which is filmmaking. And I have long been well, let me put it this way. I've long dreamed of being not just an award-winning. It's not about the awards. It's about the story. And I want to tell stories that positively impact people and hit them in their heart, touch them at their soul level, so that they look at their life and they say, you know what, that really helped, whatever that looks like. So films like Fireproof, Courageous, just really good, heartwarming, chicken noodle soup for the soul kind of movies.
You mentioned having a team. Do you have a team around you, or is it just you, or do you occasionally hire a shooter or editor or have a VA? How do you do that?
Well, most of the time it's just me. My wife does occasionally help me out when I'm on a wedding and we need a second shooter. Just last year I hired freelance 2 shooters to handle a wedding where we did photo and video as kind of a proof of concept. So I have the ability to hire people on as I need them. But as far as running the company and all that, I have a business coach. I have 2 or 3 other people that I kind of bounce ideas off of and use as sounding boards. But as far as the running of the company and all the financial stuff and all the day-to-day busy work, as it were, that's just me. We call ourselves solopreneurs because it's just us.
When you are a solopreneur, when you're the only one in the company, there are some times where things get bad, where it's just not good and it's all your fault because there's no one else to blame, so it must be you. On days like that, what gets you out of bed in the morning? What motivates you to go back and try again?
Well, that's a good question. I got to be honest, this year has definitely been filled with many of those mornings. And the one thing that I have learned is that regardless of how bad business is, whether you have video work or photo work or work at all, as far as paying work, it never changes the fact that there's always work to do. If, for instance, if you're in the shoes that I am in, I have yet to have a significant video project this year. Okay, well, how do we change that? Well, you got to work on marketing. You got to you got to get your name out there, and you got to market yourself. If you want new clients, if you want to remind your current clients that, hey, you're still here. So for me, it's what gets me out of the bed is just the challenge of it all. You know, every week, every day has a new challenge, and sometimes it's the same challenge but with a new twist. Um, it's always just something new, and it's a grand adventure. And interesting little thing, it's not my company. You know, sure, it's got my name on it, but if you go to the business license with the state of Washington, it says under owner, CEO, God Almighty. I am the president. That is my title. I am the manager and caretaker of this company, but I am not the owner. And so this company will exist as long as God wants it to exist. And that gets a little hairy sometimes, a little confusing, because, you know, times right now, it's like, okay, well, are you trying to tell me it's time to move on and close this chapter, or what's the deal? And, you know, the devil and the enemy is there very quickly to try and muddy the waters. But, you know, that's where having a solid group of people around you in your personal life can really, really help. You know, I talked to my mom, and she's an amazing prayer warrior. I talk to people at church, and they just, you know, I got lots of people covering me in prayer right now. And sometimes God just needs you to come through on your own, you know, especially us men. We need to take up our Bibles, our swords, and fight through it. You know, we have power over the enemy. We just need to claim it.
What are some resources that either you've depended on or that you've come across that you think would be helpful to others who are in kind of the same situation as you, or maybe a little bit behind you, hoping to someday be in a situation where they at least occasionally have big clients? Anything pop into mind like that?
Well, I honestly did not take advantage of the resources around me until very, very recently. The Small Business Development Center, I believe there's one in every state, and that has been just enormous value to me. That's who I'm working with. That's my business coach, and at least for me, it's free of charge. It's paid for by the state. Tax revenues, you know, I don't even pretend to understand how it's paid for, but something out of taxes. So, and there are just some incredible success stories that the SBDC has all over the country. So that would be a good one in order to get a good solid foundation for your company. Other than that, you know, really finding those resources, especially on like places like Google Plus or Facebook, get into the groups that have like-minded individuals that you can really just toss ideas out to that aren't going to beat you up if it's a quote-unquote stupid question, because we all learn at different rates. We all learn differently. Some of us are visual learners. Some of us read to learn. Some of us just have to experience it in order to learn those hard lessons. So really find the people that can support you in a positive way. You know, if you're a photographer, you don't want to go into necessarily a photographer's forum where if you post something, they're just going to rip it to shreds with criticism. You know, you want something that is constructive criticism, something that's going to help you grow and do it better. And you know, don't be afraid of challenge, because if you don't like challenges, then you're probably not going to be well suited as an entrepreneur or a business owner, because it's nothing but challenge. You know, they say the first 5 years will determine whether your company sticks around or not, and it can be brutal out there. You know, even limiting yourself to working with fellow Christians, that's not necessarily going to keep you safe. So, you know, the Bible says, above all else, guard your heart, because from it springs the wellspring of life. So you got to protect yourself. You're going to get burned. Just know that up front. And it's not because people are evil. It's just because we live in a fallen world. That's just the reality. Every person that you deal with every day is broken in some way. And realizing that can really help take the sting out of their actions and their words, and realizing that, maybe they don't really mean to hurt me. It's something to think about.
You talked earlier about marketing. What are you doing personally for marketing? Is there anything that you found that you say, oh, if I'd only started with this, the business would be so far ahead, but I've just discovered this in the last month, or anything like that?
Oh, there's plenty, buddy. There's plenty. I would say if a year and a half ago I'd really understood the power of SEO and content marketing strategy, and how huge that was going to be, and how integrated it is. I mean, holy cow. Um, it's not just, okay, I produce a video and I put it up on YouTube and everything's hunky-dory. Well, no, you have to optimize it for YouTube. You have to choose way ahead of time what the video is going to try and rank for. So what words and key and phrases do you want it to show up in the search results for? And that helps you identify what your title says, what your description says, what tags you put on it, and then go through and correct the automatic transcription that YouTube does for you. I mean, just crazy things like that, and how now SEO and solid web design and video and imagery and copy, it all plays together. And content marketing is not just video. I mean, video is a very powerful form of content, sure, but blogging, articles, press releases, it all counts, and learning how to integrate that. Oh man, if I'd known that this time last year, I probably would not be in the situation I'm in now. As far as what I'm doing now, just today I was sketching out ideas for sales funnels for the three categories of services that I offer, and what I'm discovering is that in order to get business or even to get leads, you have to be able to give something away that adds value to the life of whoever it is you're going after. For instance, business videos. Well, it would probably be helpful to give away an ebook that talks about how influential content marketing strategies are, and with some solid statistics. And then they opt in for a customized proposal as far as, okay, this is how video can help you. But not just video, it's part of an overall strategy. And then you have to pitch them on the strategy, and then you have to be able to deliver on both. So partnering with, say, web designers and SEO guys, it's all part of it.
As far as SEO goes, I know when I first heard of SEO, it felt like cheating to me, like you were doing something that you shouldn't be doing in order to get the results that you wanted to get. How would you address that objection to it? Because I bet you have a good solid reason behind just doing it. Fine.
Okay. So there's a few different ways that you can do SEO, and there's a couple different ways you can do SEO very poorly and in the Google universe illegally. That will get you blacklisted when they catch you. So the wrong way to do it is to just find tons of sites that will backlink to you, fill your website with keyword-heavy copy, and just pad. It doesn't matter if the copy really makes sense as long as the words are there. So that's a big no-no, because the new Google algorithms, and because Google kind of leads and influences the rest, all search engines, they want organic results. And what that means is they want links and backlinks to be organic and natural. So for instance, Paul, if I approach you and I say, hey, you know what, we're two video guys, you have a specialty in the Colorado area, or Kentucky, I'm sorry, you're in Kentucky. I have a specialty in the Northwest. Why don't we put a link on each other's sites? And that way people who are visiting your website from the Northwest can say, oh, hey, there's a video guy that's more local to me, and this guy trusts him, and then, vice versa. That's an organic backlink. um, or traffic that goes to your website. They want it to be coming from social media or from natural search results. So, for instance, if I typed in video production Kentucky, you may rank on the first two pages because that more closely matches with what you actually provide. So, much like video production Vancouver, Washington would more closely match with what I provide. That's what we mean by organic. And if you can do that, and the way that you do that legally in the Google universe is you provide fresh content, and it's high quality content that relates to what you're trying to rank for. So in my case, I would be blogging about video production um, all the time, and it would be high quality content. So that is only going to help you rank higher in the search engine results. Now, if you don't know what you want to rank for, or you don't know what keywords to use and all that, Google has a keyword help tool, a keyword search help tool that I believe is free to use. At least it has been. But if you're really not comfortable or you're a little unsure about it, do yourself a favor, find an SEO expert and just hire them, talk to them, pick their brain, learn about it is the bottom line, because it's only going to help you.
The buzzword is rank for the keywords, but I think the way that you need to think of it is you're using the words that people are searching for, not what you call it, which might be nonsense to anyone else. So, good word there. I guess that's most of what I had to ask for. I am curious, if people wanted to reach you, what's a good way to do that?
Well, they can reach me at www.timatoproductions.com. That's Timato. So a little clever wordplay there. You can also reach me at 360-358-5751. So yeah, either one of those will get to me. And I'm all over Google Plus in the church tech community. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on LinkedIn. And those links can be found on the website, which I just gave you. I do want to say one thing, and that is in regards to SEO and video marketing in general. 2014 is shaping up to be the year that you either dive in to video marketing and use it for your company, or you get left behind. And in regards to SEO, if you're not doing it, then you're leaving a big void for your competition to do it. And do you really want your competition getting the customers and the clientele that really should be going to you? That's the end question, because that ultimately affects your bottom line.
Well, thanks a lot, Tim. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me about just all your experiences. I know that I've learned a lot, and I hope that the audience has all learned a lot. And so to you in the audience, I hope that you'll use these tips that Tim has given you to just embrace your dreams, to look out for what God has made you to do, and to use those methods to go out and change eternity. Until next time, I'm Paul Allen Clifford with TrinityDigitalMedia.com. Head over to patreon.com/PaulAllenCliff. That's patreon.com/PaulAllencliff to support the show. Your support really, really matters. So thank you.